In the first Attila the Hun scenario, the Scourge of God, you're hit with a pretty wild choice right out of the gate. Bleda, Attila's brother and co-ruler, invites you on a hunting trip to slay the legendary Iron Boar. According to Bleda, whichever brother kills this absolute unit of a pig gets to rule the Huns. Totally normal family dynamics. From there, the game gives you options. You can straight up murder Bleda, you can let the Iron Boar do the murdering for you, or you can nope out entirely, cross the river to the west and build up your base in relative peace. As a kid, I replayed this mission endlessly just to see how each choice changed the scenario. Even now, with a doctorate in medieval history under my belt, that opening still fascinates me. Why so many ways to kill Bleda? Why a hunting trip? Why an Iron Boar? Did any medieval source actually mention a boar that could almost kill a paladin? So I did what any historian would. I started with the secondary literature. Immediately, things got a little bit weird. None of the historians that I was reading mentioned a hunting accident at all. Most simply said Attila probably killed Bleda, but that we don't really know. There was no smoking gun. Where does this whole hunting accident story actually come from then? If you check various pop history sources, such as History Hit, Wikipedia, and various historical blogs, they all confidently claim that at least one primary source says Bleda died while hunting. The Age of Empires 2 wiki even cites the Gothic historian Jordanes as saying Attila killed Bleda during a hunt. At this point, the only thing left to do was to dive into the primary sources themselves. The two big primary sources we have for Attila's reign are Priscus and Jordanes. Priscus is a fantastic source. He's an envoy from the Roman Empire or the Byzantine Empire, whichever label you prefer, who actually met Attila on a diplomatic embassy, and his account of this survives. However, his surviving work focuses on events a few years after Bleda's death, Priscus's embassy taking place in 448 or 449, while Bleda died in around 445. I've tracked Priscus's account anyway, and he doesn't actually give us much useful information specifically on how Bleda died. That leaves us with Jordanes. Jordanes was a 6th century Romano-Gothic historian whose work blends Gothic and Hunnic history. He has access to sources that simply do not survive today, which makes him an incredibly valuable source in of his own right. Here's what he actually says about Bleda's death. In order that he, being Attila, might first be equal to the expedition he was preparing, he sought to increase his strength by murder. Thus he proceeded from the destruction of his own kindred, presumably being Bleda, to the menace of all others. He increased his power by this shameful means. Now, when his brother Bleda, who ruled over a great part of the Huns, had been slain by his, being Attila's, treachery, Attila united all the people under his own rule. That's it. No hunting trip, no accident, no Iron Boar, just treachery. So where did the idea about a boar come from? Why is this idea so deeply embedded in pop history that even the AoE 2 wiki repeats it? I don't think the game necessarily invented this. I think rather it inherited it, and I am going to look into this further now. After digging through various pop culture depictions of Attila, the earliest adaptation I can find which may be our culprit is the 1954 Italian-French film, simply titled Attila. In that movie, Attila and Bleda go on a boar hunt, and Attila has Bleda killed during the trip, specifically shooting him with archers. This is almost exactly the setup we see in the AoE 2 scenario, only Bleda controls the archers in the AoE 2 mission. While the film wasn't released in English until 1958, when it did finally hit the US, it was a surprise box office success and continued to be shown the next year. Millions of people saw it, and it was one of the biggest box office hits in the US in 1959. Seemingly, enough people saw it for its versions of events to seep into the English language pop history, and this narrative has simply stuck since. You can even find clips of this film on YouTube today, though the quality is, let's just say, archaeological. So in the end, the Iron Boar isn't some forgotten Hunnic legend or a detail buried in late Roman gossip. It's simply a movie prop that's somehow charged straight into our collective imagination and has refused to leave. Age of Empires didn't create the myth, it just polished it and passed it on to the current generation, one which plays out this story rather than just watching it. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. When history, pop culture, and game design collide, the stories that survive aren't always the ones rooted in fact. They're simply the ones with the biggest tusks. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the historical oddities behind Age of Empires, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and I really appreciate it. I've got plenty more videos coming that explore the stranger corners of medieval history in the series, so make sure you subscribe if you want to see some more of this type of content. And hey, if you're into high-level gameplay or want to catch my streams, I regularly post breakdowns of top players, especially the up-and-comers in my Tier 2 Titan series, and I'm live on Twitch throughout the week with my own gameplay and community sessions. Come and hang out. Until next time.